reality sets in, and we're here.
Respect isn't given, it's earned. In blood.
Boxing King Media, we're back here again for another episode of the Brutally Honest podcast. We're edging towards 50 episodes. We're not there yet, but we're very close. Dominic, Ingle, I think the last time I saw you, Dom, I'm pretty sure you looked like a couple of stone heavier.
Well, I weren't a couple of stone heavier, I was probably about a stone heavier, but I think when I sometimes read the comments and people say I look fat or, I've got a bit of a gut on me, not that I have, because always in good shape, but I thought, about time just to switch on.
You took it personal, haven't you?
No, not really took it personal, but sometimes you have to take a look at yourself, don't you? And I checked out the other day, I think I put on my social media, it's about, I think it said something like 14 weeks or 16 weeks to the new year. How quick has 2025 gone? It's been a great year for us. And I just thought, you know what? Let's start thinking about the new year now. There's going to be a lot happening in the next 3 months, even you don't know about, and you're going to be very surprised because there's going to be some news coming out. But yeah, so I've got to get in shape and get fit, although I'm quite fit anyway. But yeah, I've lost about 12 pounds in 2 weeks. I've been a guinea pig actually for a kid in Sheffield. Dave Stash used to do nutrition for Kelly years ago. And we got talking the other day, came down and did some body fat analysis on some of the fighters. And we got talking about all these weight loss drugs and the effects it has on people. And basically, it suppresses their appetite. They don't feel hungry. That's how they lose the weight. And I said to them, there must be some way. There is a way, obviously, like through your diet where you can completely knock your appetite off. And you can drink loads of coffee. That knocks your appetite off. But it kind of wires you. So he's developing a program, Dave, and an app, a special diet what completely suppresses your appetite. And I've actually just been trialing it for 2 weeks, and it's very, very good. So I'm kind of the guinea pig. The results will speak for themselves in about another week's time. I'll be about where I need to be, and it's been quite easy. Never felt hungry. It's a bit of an eye-opener because I've done nutrition for a lot of years. I've used different diets, and this is probably the first diet I've ever had where I actually never felt hungry. It's a bit hard getting down the food, but it's good. And he's doing an app, I think. He's got a program. He's actually going to do a book on it, I think, as well. So it'd be interesting. And I've got to have my next test in about 4 weeks, in about 7 days' time. See how much body fat I've reduced. I wear 14.2%. Hopefully, I'm going to make a significant drop. I'm aiming for hopefully, I've got down to about 11. So.
All I did was slightly mention that you're looking like you lost weight, and you've just reeled off a whole.
Yeah, I suppose I am a bit. It makes you a bit focused when you're in this mode. You have to be focused. It's a bit like when you're training fighters. You have to be switched on, and everything's got to be focused to what you're doing. That's how you do it. But most people these days are so distracted by everything that they can't actually focus on one thing and cut stuff out of their life, can they? What's distracting them? So therefore, tasks what should be very, very simple become very, very hard. That's what I found in this day and age.
Have you deliberately gone and find your tightest top for today's
this is my Spider-Man top. This is from Decathlon. I've had this a few years. It's great because you can only really wear it when you've got a six-pack, look, coming through.
Yep, Dom breathing in. You've definitely gone. I rang you up saying let's film today's episode, and I think you've gone and pulled out the tightest top.
Possibly. A good job it was washed. I've only got this one.
Very true. I think the winter's coming, so we might see that sleeveless jacket coming back.
I've actually had it on. I've dug a few out. I've had it from last year. I'm not buying any more gilets.
Gilet, that's it.
I've got two, a North Face one and another one. I'll just wash them and use them. I'm cutting back this year. Life's getting expensive, and I'm not making any money.
Very true. That's what a lot of people keep saying. So, you know what? A while ago, I remember you telling me boxing gives you these amazing opportunities to travel the world and get to see lots of different places. I've been lucky enough to go to some random places, and it doesn't get any more random than Nigeria, where I was there last week, and it completely blew my mind. It was I went there with preconceived ideas, and it wasn't how I expected. It was way better than I expected. The people were amazing, friendly. it was safe. You know, all these preconceptions you have about places, it kind of just goes to show, and I'm sure you've experienced it from.
Well, I've never been to Nigeria. I've been to South Africa, but my dad once went to Nigeria a long time ago.
Oh, what was that for?
Oh, for a fight.
Okay.
And we were only young. I must have been about 13, and we obviously didn't have phones in them days. He came back with all these photographs, and I can just remember him showing me this photo. They'd gone out to some tribe, and even this fighter had had the photo took with this tribe. All the fellas were there, obviously with the loincloths on. The women, like no bras, massive, but painted white. Like, and we're like 14-year-old kids, me and brother, thinking, what's this, all this here? Like people walking around with no clothes on. But that's just the way it were. And the photos are probably somewhere in the house, but it was interesting. And you can imagine us, because we'd never seen anything like that. And my dad went, he goes, oh yeah, this fella took us to meet his wives. He got about 5 wives, this fella. I mean, we're talking, it's got to be 40 odd years ago. 44 years ago, roughly. I was about 14 at the time. So my dad been to Nigeria. I've done South Africa a few times. But yeah, it's funny, isn't it? What you see on the news and what you read about places, especially in Nigeria, like Lagos, it's supposed to be like full on. But you know, I've had a few people go and say it's quite a nice place.
Like I said, it's different. It's not somewhere where you'd go like on a holiday. It's more like an exploring adventure type place where you'd experience stuff. But there was definitely no one dressed in tribe outfits or walking around naked.
Well, you had to go out. You had to go out to the outskirts. Obviously, it's not going to be in the city, is it? But yeah.
Who was fighting? Do you remember who was fighting?
I think it was a fighter we had years ago called Walter Clayton.
Okay.
So, and do you know what? I tell you what else boxed out there. It wasn't actually. It wasn't Walter Clayton. It was Errol Graham. Oh, wow. He boxed a fighter called Hunter Clay.
Okay.
And it was a Commonwealth title fight. And yeah, you look that one up. Look at. In fact, let's have a look at the date. Let's have a look what date that was. See how far I am off it.
Harold Graham.
Harold Graham. So Harold Graham.
Let's do a live search on box rec.
Box rec. Might not get a signal in here.
No, I'm connected to your Wi-Fi.
Right, here we go. Oh, you've got the Wi-Fi code, have you? So you boxed Hunter Clay. Hunter Clay in 1982.
Wow.
So I weren't wrong. I was 15.
Yeah, you was right. Yeah.
So and it was in maybe Lagos.
It was Lagos, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So it just shows you, doesn't it? And I remember it was a 15-round fight back in them days.
Wow.
And my dad says it was a life and death. This fella called Hunter Clay, he was like well liked. He was on his home soil. You know, in them days you had to take fights where they were. They put the money up. Nigeria got some money. Errol Graham couldn't get the fights. He went out there. I can remember Dad saying we were lucky to get out there with a belt because it was all rigged for the other guy to win. So it was Errol Graham. What did we say? 1980?
82, before I was even born.
Yeah.
But yeah, what an experience that must have been, especially back then, because it wouldn't have been easier to go there. I went on the Nigerian airline called Air Peace, which was an adventure in itself, but it wasn't too bad, to be fair. Yeah. But yeah, the food and the people, like I said, very, very friendly. And
well, that's the thing about, you know, back in the day, not so much now. I can remember being up to being about 40 years old. We were all over the place: France, Germany, Belgium, Africa, Australia, New Zealand, everywhere. You know, we travelled vastly back in them days to get fights. Much more easier than it is today. It was massive. There was boxing all over the place, and it seems just to have died off a lot now. But yeah, we've been some places. But yeah, Nigeria, yeah, you've been. I haven't been yet. Probably will go at some point.
Well, they're doing another show in December, I think it is.
Well, Amir Khan was involved with it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
'Cause he sent me a video through.
Yeah.
Saying you should come out. But I think next time, when is it?
December.
Yeah, I might go out. I might have a trip out.
Yeah, so it should be interesting to see how the next one goes. Boxing wise, I think we'll start with Ben Whittaker. Just announced yesterday. It was kind of rumoured for quite a while. You know, Eddie's done a few interviews where he's talked very highly of him, almost kind of hinting that he's going to sign him. So they've obviously signed him, did a really good promo shoot. I don't know if you watched the video or not, a really good video that they put together. I think the video was kind of, I don't know if there was a theme behind it, almost like Frank Smith dressed as a SWAT going into a room, and I don't know if the theme was
the least likely person to be a SWAT team member, Frank Smith.
I'll say that to him tomorrow when I see him. But yeah, pretending to steal Ben Whittaker. Obviously, they've took him off Boxer because I'm assuming there was a contract.
Well, do you know what? He might have been better as the negotiator, Frank. He looks better as like a Tom Cruise type of character when I think Frank, although not as good looking. But Yeah, Frank Smith, better than negotiator, not the swap man, like he's negotiated the deal. That'd be more realistic, I think.
Well, they got their man. They've been after him for quite a while, and again, this hasn't come out, but it's been rumored online for a long time that Ben, whatever contract he had with Box, it was suggested that there was some sort of clause in there with the TV network if they didn't have Sky.
It's always going to be that way this is what I was saying a long time ago, that unless you're a promoter with TV, how can you hold somebody to a contract if you can't promote them, and you can't get the money that you need to pay them without a TV? So most contracts are going to be void with promoters if there's no TV involved, and if you haven't got the pull to get involved in a TV or connect to a TV channel or another promoter we want. So I think that was always going to be on the cards, especially the level that Ben Whittaker's had after his last performance. Was it Liam Cameron?
Yeah, he stopped.
So
Rematch,
he's rewrited the wrong, so to speak. He is hot property at the minute. Now he's been put with a match room, we're going to really tell whether he can fight or not, because if they've invested in him, he's going to have to come up with the goods, and it's as simple as that. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. He's got what he wants, but now it's a case of walking the walk, isn't it, for Ben Whittaker? Let's see what happens.
Well, I'm assuming he would have had two options. Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn would have been the two guys after him. Frank has got pretty much most of the light heavyweights in the UK. So I don't know if you was kind of guiding Ben, is it the right move? Like, would you go, like, what would you be thinking about here? So you got an option with Frank Warren, who's got most of the light heavyweights in the country, or Eddie Hearn, who doesn't. I think Craig Richards is the only one guy that he works with in the UK. So you kind of like, you're not like a...
Yeah, you kind of blocked out a little bit, but... The other thing is that if you the thing with Frank is that he looks after the fighters. Look at Anthony Yarde, how well he's done. He had a good win the other day, although he's not light heavyweight. Willie Hutchinson, he's light heavyweight, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
He brought him back after his recent loss. So Frank does look after the fighters, and it's one of those, isn't it? It's like, who's gonna have your best interest? And I think if I were Ben Whittaker, I probably would have gone to Frank, because most of those kids, like...
Can I chuck something else in there before you give the assessment? So a big part of that deal was the fact that Eddie Hearn is consistently putting on shows in the US as well, and Ben wants to be a worldwide fighter, wants to fight in America as well.
Whatever difference that makes, who cares? It's like, so what? Like,
surely it does, doesn't it? If you want to be a global
not
star.
really. You're better off fighting at home, having to travel away and being under the jurisdiction of somebody. I've always found going abroad, like places to America, difficult, because...
But Naz went there. You don't even want to be a big star.
But you look how big Naz was before he went there. Naz, they left it to the death. I can always remember my dad having conversation with Frank, and Naz saying he wants to go to America. And Frank saying, just wait, the time's not right, the time's not right. And then he went, it was Kevin Kelly, and it nearly all went wrong. So, America's great, but the rules, I've been there a few times, you can't, the strict, the rules and regulations about the corner. You can't have ice or something like this. There's lots of stuff, and I find them very officious.
Does that affect the fighter though?
It can affect what you're doing, because like they want you turning up at the venue bang on a certain time, like hours before the shows. It's like, I always remember wrapping Kell Brook's hands, and I taped him. You'll have 3 pieces of tape on the back of the hand side by side, and the inspector went, yeah, no problem. Then Sean Porter's corner came in and complained. And I went, well, that's, what I mean? You've been watching me do it. You've watched it, and then you tell me to take it off. I says, what's that all about? It's legal. What's being done? And I just thought it was a bit strange. So if I had a fighter, I'd only take him to America when he really needed to go to America. I'd make sure he got the home advantage. He was comfortable. There was no travel involved. All that traveling, going back, time zones mess fighters up. Do you know what I mean? It's not the best. So get all the home advantages and fight in America. How many times did Ricky Hatton fight in America? Probably 3 times. I think early in his career, once or twice.
But what if you got the option with a promoter that can do both? Fight in the UK and US.
I'm saying Ben Whittaker's not an accomplished enough fighter to be handling going to America and doing all that kind of stuff. He's not seasoned enough. It's a different kettle of fish, America. Trust me, I've been there loads of times. Like I say, you ask fighters who've been there. Johnny's been there. Cole Froch. Different ball game. I've been there with Junior Witter against Lovemore and Do, world title eliminator. Kell Brook and Sean Porter. I've had enough experience. If I had a choice, I'd rather fight in the UK.
So obviously the two options, like I said, with Eddie, he's got the option of doing both. So I'm assuming that's why he's gone there. Did you watch the promo that they filmed it was a scene from Jeremy Maguire?
They can make as many
Jerry
good scenes
Maguire.
as they want. I think I've told you before. For me, although Ben Whittaker's all right, he hasn't lived up to his hype yet, and he hasn't really particularly impressed me. So,
What about the it's fair to call it a demolition job on Liam Cameron in
yeah,
the
but
rematch?
you know, the first fight he got a little bit found out, Ben Whittaker, and I'll be honest. And if Liam was supposed to come to it, and I'd have had to be brutally honest, and I would have said, I don't really think Liam was up for that fight. It was almost, I've seen it in fighters before, and he might not thank me for this, but it's just the impression I got that he was kind of thankful to be there for the second time. Well, like he hadn't got any ambition, because I just seen him before the fight. He seemed calm and relaxed, and it was almost like, well, I've done it in the first fight. I didn't really see him all fired up and look like you were ready to get it on with Whittaker, and the fight reflected that. And it's almost like Fraser Clark when he boxed the kid who broke, what do you call him?
Dave Allen,
No, the champion.
Fabio.
Yeah, when he boxed Fabio the first time,
Yeah,
it was a tough fight. Yeah? Life and death. Is that fair enough assumption?
yeah.
The second fight, it wasn't. And it was like, whether Fraser thought it was going to be, he's going to stand off a little bit more, Fabio, and he's going to be a bit cautious, it's going to be a bit of a game of chess. Fabio just went straight in for the kill. And it kind of caught Fraser unawares, very unawares, because how can it go from a 12-round slugfest where it's nip and tuck and it was a close fight to the second fight when it was what, a round, 2 rounds, was it a round?
Could he just got caught?
Yeah, but like, you don't put yourself, like, the most dangerous part of a fight is the first couple of rounds when everybody's keyed up and ready to go. It's like, that's when you've got to be most on your toes. So when I see that happening, it's like somewhere down the line, somebody hasn't flicked the switch. It's like beware now, it's life and death, this. So for Ben Whittaker, really, yeah, he's beat Liam Cameron, but he should never been allowed for fight in the first place, for a fighter of his level and the promotion he was getting and the opportunities and the notice and everything else. So for me, he's avenged that, but he still hasn't really had a real test.
Can I compare it? I don't know if you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm trying to think of fighters that have had high expectations and maybe not performed. You know, there was times that I'll use your own personal example, like Kell Brook. You know, he had them fights with Carson Jones. He fought the Australian kid. I can't remember his name. Zarafa, that's the one. Two fights on paper, which you would think Kell Brook of the standard he was. But he had bad nights. Could it be that?
And if we look at that without making excuses, it's looking back now, and I know why, the reason why, because I was actually confused what happened with the Carson Jones fight, because Kell trained really well for that fight. But after the fight, I found out weeks later why it went wrong. I'm not going to disclose why it were, but basically it were that he weren't following the plan he should have been following. And it's funny because when he rematched Carson Jones months later...
What I'm saying is, what if, we don't know yet, but something may happen behind the scenes for Ben Whittaker not to be 100% in the first fight.
But then you have to think to yourself, all right, well, look at the level when Kell Brook boxed Carson Jones. When he boxed before that, the fights he'd had, decent fights. Do you understand? So Ben Whittaker hadn't even been in them decent fights yet. He hadn't even been at that, anywhere near that level. So, you know, there were inconsistencies. There are inconsistencies with top level fighters. The ones who have least inconsistency, like the likes of Usyk, are ones who remain champion. But there's always going to be that chink in the arm. Look at George Groves, look at De Gale when they were coming through. They're always like slightly bad performances, and they regained the composure and did all right. But we get back to the Zarafa fight. Yeah, 100% Kell took his eye off the ball. I didn't train him for that fight, and they thought it was more or less a gimme fight. And no fight is ever a gimme fight. So, you know, if the people around you are saying this is going to be easy, then, you know, the team around you should be telling you this is going to be an hard fight. I remember taking Kell to America, already got him in America, in New Jersey, and he boxed this kid, called him Calazo, I think they called him, or Glazo, or whatever.
The chef.
Tough kid, absolute. And Kell, I remember Kell walking in the gym, and Eddie says, "Oh, we're going to make this fight 11 stone," and I went, "What?" I went, "We'll make it 11 stone." I went, "No, Eddie." I says, "This fight needs to be 10-9. He boxed at 10-7, needs to be 10-9. Why? You know, it's just a routine fight." I went, "No." I goes, "Because if Kell can have 11 stone, he's not going to be disciplined." So Kel come in and goes, what have you told Eddie, like, you know, to make it lighter for him, so you focus on what you've got to do. Yeah, but this kid's just like a tomato can. I went, there's no such thing as tomato cans, Kel. I says, this kid's knocked people out. Yeah, but he's knocked a load of nobody's out. I goes, it don't matter. I goes, he's knocked them out. I says, and the last thing you want to be thinking is going over there like you're going to get a gimme fight, because it doesn't happen. Not at your level, not where you are. You're not going to get that much of a gimme fight. I can remember after the first or second round, Kel came back, he went, he's buzzed me. I'm going to flatten him. I went, no, you've got to box this kid, because he were game. He came, he were in fantastic shape, come with a Rocky t-shirt on. Kid Gallagher were talking to him. He knew everything about the gym, everything about Naz, everything in this gym. He'd studied everything. And even when Kel were battering him around the ring later when he caught him, the kid didn't want to pack in. Do you know what I mean? He was still protesting when he got stopped. Kel went, I goes, that weren't a tomato can, were it? He went, no. And that's the difference, is that, like, don't matter whether the fighter thinks you are, the people around you have got to make you aware of what's going to be happening. You've got to be like, you know, not be treating them with kid gloves. It's like you're in a fight. Don't matter. Anybody who's going to step in that ring to punch your head in is dangerous. Don't write them off. Don't think it's going to be easy, because there's no such. The easiest fights turn out the hardest.
Well, let me ask you this then. This is the top 10 British light heavyweights. Just give me one word answers. Does Ben Whittaker beat Lyndon Arthur? If you used to fight any of these in the next 12 months.
No.
Ezra Taylor.
Never seen him.
Craig Richards.
Depends with Craig Richards how much he's got left, so that's I can't really say on that one.
Willie Hutchinson.
He won't beat Willie Hutchinson.
Zach Parker.
Close fight, I think. Zach Porter could edge it.
Anthony Yard.
No.
Boatsy.
No.
Callum Smith.
No.
Dan Aziz.
Possibly.
Okay. So, I know obviously, am I right in saying, if I kind of review it, because it sounds very similar to, you wasn't fully sold on Hamza Shiraz till his last win. So at the minute, you're not fully sold on him until he does something where you're probably...
But if I had a choice of saying where I was with Hamza Shiraz and with Ben Whittaker, I would, even though I wasn't particularly sold on Hamza Shiraz, I was more sold on him than Ben Whittaker is, if you know what I mean, at this stage.
Okay, so we'll review it again. The reason I asked you them questions is going to be interesting if you fight any of them.
Yeah, see what the result is.
We can look
but
back at
it's like anything else. If you said to me, we're saying that Ben Whittaker's the best version of Ben Whittaker now, he doesn't beat the best version of Craig Richards. Yeah? Who else did we say?
Dan Aziz, Lyndon Arthur.
Right, he don't beat the best version of Lyndon Arthur. He don't beat the best version of Willie Hutchinson. He don't beat the best version of Boatsy. But it just depends, because them fighters have all been beat. And it just shows you it's down to how much ambition they've got left. Where he's still unbeaten, Ben Whittaker. It depends what ambition those other fighters or the other challenges have got.
Okay, like I said, I can see you're not fully sold on him, so we're definitely going to revisit this when the time comes. Like I said,
who's training him now?
Andy Lee. He's got his
Lee's training him.
So he had that first fight with Andy Lee, the rematch with Liam Cameron. That was the first fight, and then obviously whoever he fights next. But I think he's due to fight before the end of the year.
There you've got Andy Lee with a lot of experience. He knows that boxing is. And he knows he's got enough about him, Andy.
Very good, stable as well.
To realise who's going to be the stepping stone fights, in what order those fights should be, because it's going to be his responsibility as a coach to plot the graph through those fighters. Whereas for me, I'm not particularly interested in the light heavyweights. It's not. There's no reason for me to do it. But just going on the past experiences, it's a tough division for him to be in.
Let's reevaluate that as his fights go on. But again, it gives us good talking topics, and let's see if he manages to convince you. But one thing I do know about you is the day, if he does convince you, you will say it.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens there.
You know, dreams do come true. Reality sets in. You know, we here.
Respect isn't given, it's earned.